What is going on, everybody? This video is overdue. If you've been kind of following my content, you know that I've built some indicators on TradingView when I was using that platform before. And now that I've moved everything all into ATASX, I'm really excited that with Claude Code that I can actually build custom indicators as well. And so I wanted to walk through one of the indicators that I've built, and this is something that I ported over from TradingView and adapted it to ATASX using the order flow data. Um, and so one of the core things that I like, or one of the core concepts that I like to use in my trading is cumulative volume delta, or CVD. And so this is basically the sum of net buying and selling, and you can kind of see who's winning in a given time period. And there's lots of indicators for CVD. You have for the session, there's CVD candles and all that. One thing I like to use is an oscillator for cumulative volume delta. And so I will kind of put that on the chart here so you can kind of see what the oscillator looks like. So this comes out of the box for ATAS, and just the moving average. Let's do 15 minutes. So every 15 rolling period moving average, you'll kind of see what is the sum of the cumulative volume delta. And this is basically what it looks like, right? And so you can kind of use that to trade. Here it's like bearish, so it's like, okay, it's bearish here, and then it starts turning bullish here, so you can kind of see that. And so I like that indicator, but I don't necessarily like having the shorter time frame here in the panel as an oscillator. I like to have like the longer time frame, like 60 minutes, to kind of give me a more of a directional trend, right? And so I'll use that, right, to kind of see what the directional trend is, for price. Like you kind of see here, it was going down. We kind of broke down, stayed down, then started turning bullish, and you can kind of see we kind of consolidated there. And so I use this as kind of a directional filter for me, but I still like to have like the shorter time frame to kind of pinpoint entries and also catch faster kind of scalps and things like that. And so in TradingView, I built this indicator that basically colored the candles based on a rolling CVD, but on a shorter time frame. And so I built something. So I built an indicator that does that. And so this indicator is called Delta Candles, PND Delta Candles. Um, and you can add it here. And so I made the default settings the exact colors that I like to use. And I guess let me take this off now. So this is basically looking at the rolling 15 period. So I like to oscillate between 15 and 5. So you can do 15 or you can do 5, if you want to be a little bit quicker. And so basically what this is doing is that it's coloring the candles based on, positive delta. And then if we're crossing or near zero, it gives you the yellow, so it's neutral. And then you can see it crossed, and in price started to sell off, and delta on the shorter time frame started to go bearish. There's a little bit of pause here, went bearish again. Bulls tried to take over, it broke down, and you can kind of see near-term volume went bearish again. And so I really like this indicator. I think it works really well for how I trade, at least. And one of the things that one of the first indicators that I really liked using with ATAS was the regular delta candles, right? So these, yeah, delta colored candles, right? So you could have this, we can do red and green. So if we add this to the chart, and let me take that off. So this is out of the box what you get with ATAS with the delta color candles. I think it's a great indicator, and I used it a lot. The only thing that I didn't quite like about it is I don't know which direction these candles are closing in. And so you can see that, like, hey, this was all red and it all turned out really great, which is fine. But I don't know which direction the candles were closing in. And also, I don't really know when things are transitioning too much. Like, I don't know when price is kind of stuck between zero. And so it was hard to tell, especially with, like, I like the grayscales. And so if you put it on the grayscale, like, it looks great, and you can kind of see, okay, like it was bullish here, starting to turn here, then it turned. but like I didn't get a sense of like when we were crossing zero, right? So that the fact that I couldn't get a sense of when we were crossing zero, and I don't really know which direction these candles are closing in, which it made me kind of build my own indicator. And so this is why I built this one. But the concept is the same as that other out of the box indicator from ATAS, but it just gives you a bit more um, insight into what's happening on the shorter time frame when it comes to the rolling delta. And so, you know, basically how you would use it is you kind of look for price to confirm direction, right? And then if the CVD's kind of following through, then like you can go in that direction if it follows your thesis of where you think price is going to go. Like you can kind of see here, this is what, Friday, April 10th. And you can see that we started the morning kind of at zero, and then bears took over. So we started to fall over, bulls tried to fight back. And then you can kind of see we turned yellow. And for me, this is like, well, like we're kind of just fighting at zero, right? And kind of sold off, but not as deep as before, like back here, right? Like it's a little bit more lighter gray. And then you see yellow here again, so it's like, okay, you can kind of know that on the short term, like buyers and sellers are really fighting here. And so you can kind of wait for something clean, right? And then you have this big push-up candle. I think VWAP was probably around here, so maybe there's a good long, right? And then you can get out when it turns. And then, you know, as we get back here, maybe this would have signaled that you wanted to go short, so you'd kind of look for that confirmation. But then these yellow candles popped up, so you know it's probably you may want to wait. Pushing up, and then we pushed up and then turned yellow again, so it's like, well, like we around zero here, we swept that high, we're breaking down, maybe this is like a good short, which it turned out to be. You know, this is one indicator in my toolbox. I use a lot of other ones kind of put together, but that's essentially how it works. And yeah, so there's a bunch of settings in here. I guess I'll flash them just so you can kind of see. Like there's a bunch of settings that you can kind of play with. And I put a little kind of page together that walks through the indicator. And so, you know, I'll kind of walk through it at a high level, and I'll put the link here for everybody to kind of check this out. And so, like I mentioned before, you know, every candle is basically colored by the rolling sum of delta in the time frame that you pick. And then we have thresholds that are kind of adaptive that you can adjust, that basically changes the coloring of the candle for the intensity of the direction of CVD. And then we introduced the direction stripe. So that's this little kind of hollow point here. So you know, like, okay, this closed at the bottom, this one closed at the top. So you know which direction the candle closed. That's also configurable, so you can make it a bigger stripe or not. And so there you go. And then also I have it so where it can replace your default candles, so it renders properly all the time. And it talks a little bit more about how things work, talks a bit more about, you know, the stronger negative delta, your neutral zone, and then your strong bullish delta, right? And so you have the gradient color there. Color is also customizable. I just prefer the grayscales. And it kind of gives you just an idea of the like strong bull to strong bear and what that looks like, how the direction stripe works, and it talks a bit more about all the settings that you can configure. These defaults are what I use. The period I adjust from 5 to 15. It really just depends on conditions and things like that. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And so you can get more information about how the different time period settings work. And then there's also a breakdown of this indicator, this PND delta candle, how it works, versus another indicator that I'm building, which is more of an order flow composite coloring of the candles. This one's still in development. I'm still doing some tweaking and some back testing on it. PND delta candle, like I use this every day. And you know, I'm super excited to share. Like I said, you'll have to tweak it for your time frame and your style. I'm more of a scalper. Like I'll hold a trade for maybe like 15 minutes at the most, and so I'm looking for more of those like short-term swings back and forth. So yeah, I mean, so I wanted to share that. I will make this all available here in the video, but you know, definitely check it out if you're interested. I will put it in the tools kit links channel in the Discord. So if you want to get the indicator, just go there. You can download the DLL, upload it. It should work. And then we'll make sure to link off this page in the about section of the indicator as well. So if you're ever curious how it works, you can click here and you can come back to this page for more information. Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, so hopefully that helps. Again, all in on ATASX, and good luck and don't get caught. Thank you.